when you win, nobody thinks of that as a problem. It's a big problem. I once was in China, and I was in a big, huge fund, and they had an auditorium, and both money managers, portfolio managers, and traders were there, about 200 people in there. And I'm explaining that you're not allowed to feel good when you win. And a guy who could speak English says, but I like feeling good. And I said, well, you can do it. You go do something and anything, but when you come back to trading, the mind goes back to discipline and partiality. You don't feel good. And he got up and left, as did about 50 other Chinese people get up and left. And it didn't bother me. I'm going, well, this is really weird. I've never seen this before. 2 days later, I'm still there, and there's a 2.5% correction in their markets. That guy comes back to me and says, I now understand. Mm-hmm. He says, I could have seen that coming if only I had the eyes to see it. But I was feeling too good.
I love that.
And so the thing is, it's just not all about fear. It's also about winning, because winning unleashes all this stuff. Look at me, look at me. I've got power. I've got prestige. I've got safety. I've got all those things that having capital actually means at the very bottom of it. And so you're looking at it. So when you take the loss, most people look at it and they can usually handle 1, maybe 2, but then 3, 4. And what happens is, to the primitive brain circuits, this is getting clogged to death. And soon, before you know it, it's reared its ugly head, and it wants to do revenge trading or trading to make up for prior losses. Can't be done.
We're always so focused on trying to deal with losses, and you brought up you have to learn to not get too happy or not get too excited when you win. Can you say that? How does one kind of stay measured when they win, to remember that it's just landing on the right side of probability? What's kind of a reminder or something that they can stay grounded? What can people do?
What I'm teaching is that there is a full practice of actually anticipating winning, and then as you win, to be able to actually see the historical way that you perceive that and you react to that. And it's pretty hard not to feel happy. Okay. At the same time, what happens is you have to train yourself as you move into that moment. And I have a fairly elaborate process that I use for people approaching victory. Okay. And then having victory, and then not allowing themselves, a lot of it is this: I just landed on the right side of probability. That's all I did.
Just a reminder.
That's all I did. I didn't, I haven't exploded into a superhuman being. I just landed on the right side of probability. And it's actually probably when I first start working with people can't imagine any problems beyond fear. And what they do is they start trading better, and they start winning. And it's kind of like I try to warn them that this is a really serious place here. It's the next step up. And everybody has to go through that. I started winning and started feeling good. And basically they're getting a dopamine rush is what they're really getting.
Right.
And it makes them snort cocaine, kind of figuratively. And what happens is that it ends up with a very negative result. You end up with a mind that is not capable of working in probability. And ultimately, it's soothing and calming yourself. And if you need to, quit trading for a moment, go outside, exercise to burn the chemistry of victory out. And after you burn that chemistry out, come back and get the mind right to go trade again. But yeah, you just don't. You whoop it up after the day's over.
Yeah, I actually love that, because when you take a loss, the first thing you want to do is you want to get rid of that feeling. You don't want to feel bad. But when you make money, you feel good. You want to sit with it. You want to feel like you did something, that you did something valuable that you won. And no one thinks
that's very animal. That's very animal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And no
And
one thinks about what you're saying, that, hey, you're landing on the right side of probability, which is not something to celebrate. It's just a feeling in your body. You have to get grounded and remember that this is a probability game. I love that.
and feeling is the chemistry of the emotion in the body doing its work. And that's when you get when you feel it, that's when you feel certain that it's right. And you no longer doubt it.
Mm.